Hi dear friends, today we're gonna make an ornament, and to be honest, I don't know what are we gonna do, so we're just gonna try. So if you wanna get some 6 or 8 millimeters, some delicas, some seed beads, 11/0 and 15/0. I have an idea, but I'm not sure how it's gonna turn out, so we're gonna see. And I'm gonna do it this way because a lot of times I have some comments that you don't know like how many beads to add for this, so we're gonna try a different way so we can get a better idea on how to do it. So we are going to string delicas, and it doesn't really matter the colors since I'm going to be just making a demonstration. I really don't care about the colors, so we are going to grab one of each. So just put a bunch of them. We're gonna leave a long tail for now because I don't know what am I doing yet. So with this one, I probably just go around, but since we're gonna do peyote stitch, I know I need more than that. So I'm probably gonna double it up. I'm gonna leave like 5-6 inches. Like I said, you don't have to worry about it right now, and you can just put a stop bead just for now, so the beads don't come out, just like that. Our thread is exiting out of a gold bead. We are going to grab a gold bead. We are going to skip the first gold bead and we are going to sew through the second bead, which is the green, like this, and we are going to hold it and pull. This is what you gotta have, and if you're familiar with peyote, and we just need to continue. So we are going to grab one gold bead. Our thread is exit out of the green. We are going to skip the gold and sew through the green. We are going to continue this until the end. So continue, and I'll be right back when I'm almost done. Okay, so I believe I got what I need. I don't want it too tight because we still gotta put the gold thing that goes on top in here. We are going to remove our bead, and then we're gonna get all this extra. So we're gonna straighten up our beads. So this is what you should have. Our thread, it's exiting from this green bead. On the other side, we have the gold ones. It's very easy. We are going to sew through one of the gold, and I want to, just because I'm going to sew through the next green. We are going to sew through one of the gold. Our thread is exiting out of this gold. We are going to sew through the one across. We are going to sew through the green, and if you can, through the next gold to the left. And right now, make sure your beads are all, so you want to form a ring and make sure it's not crooked, okay? Our thread is exiting from this bead. We are going to sew through the green, and we are going to sew through the next gold. So we are going to pull, and when we pull, we shall be straightening our beads. What you can do is you can sew through this gold bead and go back through the green bead. That will make your beads straighter. Our thread is exiting from one of the gold beads. We are going to pick up 3 11 O's, and in this one you can change to 15 O's. It's up to you. And we are going to sew through the same bead. Our thread is exiting from the gold bead. We are going to sew up through the first 11 O that we add. We are going to pick up 2 11 O's. We are going to sew in reverse direction through the next gold bead. We are going to continue pulling. This is what you should have. I'm going to sew through the bead, the 11 O where we started. And we are going to continue repeating this step throughout the row. So we are going to sew through the bead. We are going to come down through this bead. And right now, the way we are positioned, we are going to just sew through the gold bead. We are working right now on right angle weave. So if you're not sure how to do right angle weave, I'm gonna leave a video in the description box. So we are going to pick up 2 11s. And we are going to sew through the 11 where we started. Right now, our thread is exiting from the 11 O. We are going to sew through the gold bead. we are going to sew up through the 11th, and we are going to continue repeating those 2 steps until we get to the end of the row. And I'll be right back to show you the next step. We are going to pick up 1/11. Our thread is exiting out of this seed bead. We are going to skip our delicate and come down through this seed bead on the other side. We are going to sew through the delicate that we skipped, and we are going to pull tight. We are going to sew up through the previous bead, and we are going to sew through the next bead, which is going to reinforce. We're done with this part. And if it doesn't look perfect right now, don't worry about it, because as we make more rows, our beads are going to be shredding. So right here we gotta reinforce. I didn't reinforce yet. That's gonna make our beads stay look a little bit better. So we're going to do that right now. So right now what we are going to do, we are going to sew through one of the 11 rows. I am designing this as I go, so if something I don't like, I'm gonna go ahead and undo it. So for now, I think I'm gonna grab one green delicate, one gold delicate, and one green. And we actually want this to hold down like this. Okay, so they gotta be like that. And we are going to repeat this step all the way around. And if they don't stay the way you want it right now, you don't have to worry about it. So continue, and I'll be right back to show you the next step. I finished my row. At this point, if you don't like the way it's going, probably you should stop. So far I like it. So let's add our last beads. Our thread, it's exiting from this 11 right here. We are going to sew up through the first delicate that we add, which is the green one. And we are going to sew up through the delicate. So right now, this is what you should have. And so let's continue. My thread is exiting from the goal. We are going to start working on a ladder stitch. And we are going to add maybe like 20 beads. So let's see. So I'm gonna go 1. If you want to reinforce, that is up to you. To me, it's not necessary because it's not something we're going to be wearing. It's an ornament and we shouldn't be touching it. So I don't think it's necessary to reinforce, but it's up to you. Now, when you have an idea on how to design something, not always gonna turn out the way you want to, so you had to make a lot of changes. So just remember, this is just an idea that I had. I don't know if it's going to work the way I want it. Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. The thing about it is you always end up with something nice, so don't be afraid of just doing and do things, because that's how it works. Most of the times when I'm designing something, I don't get it at the first time. Because usually when you are designing, you think of a bead, and then when you actually putting it on thread, sometimes that bead doesn't fit, and then you have to come up with a different solution. So we're going to see how this turned out. I know I want at least 20 beads, that's for sure, if not more. And if you think the beads are too small and it's gonna take you a long time, you can add bigger beads. You just need to adjust them. It depends the look that you like. I always like to work with smaller beads. It takes longer, but I kind of feel that it looks better, like more elegant. I could be wrong. That is my personal opinion. Okay, so I have 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20. And this number doesn't have to be precise. Actually, it's going to depend on how big your bead is going to be. These ones are 6 millimeter, I believe. So you're just gonna grab one 6 millimeter, and we are going to, I'm not sure if you can see, we are going to like bring it around, and it'll be like it doesn't really matter much right now, but let's try to be as accurate as we can. So I will say let's go through 8. So we're gonna go through the 8 bead. This is what you should have. Our thread is exiting from this bead right here. We are going to pass our thread through one before the one our thread is coming out of, and we are going to sew through the 6 millimeter or the bead that we are using. This is what you should have. We are going to continue around, and I will say somewhere, let's count 7. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Let's see if this works. And I think that's about right. So we are going to sew up through the 7th bead. So we're gonna count 7, and we are going to pull. and this is what you should have. We are going to sew down through the next bead. And as you can see, it sits one on top of the other. So we are going to sew down through this bead and through the round bead. We're gonna pull tight, and this is what you should have. We are going to sew through this center bead one more time. And like I told you, like this was my original plan. My plan just changed because the beads are not setting the way I wanted to, but I already have another idea, so let's continue. Our thread, it's exiting from this bead right here, which was the first one that we saw through the 8-0. We are going to pick up 1-11-0, and we are going to bring it down, and we want it to sit on top like this one. So we are going to grab another one, and we are going to start building our way back. But in order to do that, we are going to, our thread is exiting from this one, so we are going to sew through that one. So we are gonna start building the ladder stitch again. So we're gonna pull, and I want this bit to set like that. So I'm going to pass my needle underneath. I'm going to sew up through the one right next to, and I'm going to sew back through the first bead again. And like I say, there's different ways to do things, okay? So this is the way it's my ornament is coming out, so I'm not gonna fight it. I'm just going to see how it turned out. Like as you can see, the transition in here, it's right here is where you can see the bead is sitting on top, just like on this side. So right now we are going to make a row to add it with this bead, and this is going to be hanging like that. Okay, so let's add to be, you're gonna need, you already have these two, so you need 2, 4, so we're gonna add 4. Okay, so this is what you should have. At this point, if you want to make knots with this thread and cut it, you can. I haven't cut it because I don't know if I'm gonna need it in a little bit, so let's just leave it like that. Our thread is exiting from this side, so we are going to sew like this. We are going to pull, our thread is exiting. Now from this side, we are going to sew back to that side. And we are going to reinforce. One more time. don't like it the way it's turning out, but if you can see right here, it's the same way it looks right here, so it's good. So if we look at this way, or we can add it this way, so it depends. See, like if we add it this way, you see how the bead is just perfectly right next to the ornament. If we put it this way, it's different. You see how it's not flat. This is kind of more like sticking out. So right now we're gonna concentrate in finishing that row. To me, both ways looks pretty, so let's keep going. We are going to repeat the same steps. My thread is exiting out of the second bead. We are going to sew up. And like I say, if you want to reinforce, you are welcome. I'm not going to, because then my video is going to be longer than that. I don't want that. So my thread is now coming out on this side. So we are going to sew through our delica. And we are going to sew through this bead. From here, we are going to sew through this bead right here. Our thread is exiting from here. We are going to sew through the delica right here. And I might get some reds. I feel like we need some red in here. Our thread is exiting from here, so we're going to sew up through this bead right here. This is the first row that we add. Okay, so we are going to pull. We are going to sew through this bead. And we're going to sew up through the delica. And through the delica. And we are in position again to add our second bead. We're going to continue, and I'll be right back when I got all my beads.